Welcome to the Trauma Informed Lens podcast. I'm your host, Matt Bennett. Each episode we talk about the research and practical aspects of the trauma informed movement. This podcast is not designed to replace mental health services. If you feel uncomfortable or triggered by our discussion, please consider seeking your own trauma treatment. In no way is seeking treatment an admission of weakness. It is a chance to build resiliency and experience post-traumatic growth. You can find show notes, resources, and more at traumainformedlens.org. Welcome, friends, to the Trauma Informed Lens podcast. I am Matt flying solo today. I don't know about you, but I am feeling a lot of stress and anxiety today. I'm recording this on November 2nd. If you're listening to this later on after the election, you might just want to skip this episode. But I wanted to shoot out something to my listeners about taking care of yourself. I know I'm probably not the only one who's feeling a lot of anxiety today. I know here in Denver, Colorado, businesses are boarding up their windows in anticipation of violence following the election. I just heard from my sister who has two beautiful boys, teenage boys of color. She's raising my nephews. They got stuck in a truck rally, I guess you would call it, with a lot of Confederate flags mixed in with other flags supporting a certain candidate. I try not to get political on the show because I want to be a safe place for everybody, but I just want to reach out to folks because I never remember a time. I'm 45 years old. I can't remember a time where businesses ever felt like they had to board up their buildings, that someone might not feel safe just driving to a doctor's appointment because they might get stuck in a racist rally and get slurs that no child in our country should ever hear. And there's a lot. I've gone through my own pit of despair and fear. It's kind of a joke in my life, but we had a whole plan if we need to get out of the country quick because businesses are boarding up windows for a reason. Police are creating command centers for a reason, and there's just so much anxiety right now. And if you know me, you know I'm one of the most optimistic people you will meet. And I wake up every day just feeling so fortunate to be a part of the good work going on. And I had this little... I was doing some meditation and it was last weekend actually, because I was not in a good spot with this whole thing. And the vision that came through, and I'm not saying this is any mystical thing. It's just, if you meditate, sometimes things pop into your head. And the whole goal of mindfulness meditation is not to think too much about it. But I was on a weekend meditation, which I'm not like preparing for work, so I could just kind of be with it. And the thing that popped into my head was this big demon-looking thing. And it kind of reminds me, and you can always go, what's in the back of Matt's mind? If you remember Lord of the Rings, when Gandalf was in that cave and fighting that monster, it kind of looked like that. Some demonic, really huge thing. And I just got this sense of the conflict in our country is creating... representative speaking in this meditation thing that flashed in my... It's creating this demon. It's creating this sense of racism, of bigotry, of the other. And I think a lot of us, when we see the racism, bigotry, we've got to stand up. The racism, the Black Lives Matter movement, it's our job to stand up. It's our job every day when we go to work, for most of us, to stand up to these forces. And the conflict created, whether it's between those out on the streets marching for Black Lives Matter and the police, whether it's Republicans versus Democrats, whatever it is, it's creating this thing that might destroy us. And so the thing of hope that came out of that, really terrifying vision, but it gave me a way to visualize what I see on the news every day. And what I've seen on the news for the last 4 or 5 years now. And it didn't start with Trump. It just, he gives voice to, I think, some of the most extreme things. And again, being an old guy, I never heard a presidential candidate say, I'm not going to leave peacefully. So just everything he does in many ways just pushes it up, turns it to 11. The thing that I reflected back on was a blog post that I wrote when I was doing the Matt's Mumbling blogs, talking about the wall that we put up to racism, to discrimination, to injustice, by bringing our light into the world. And this sounds a little, again, I know I'm dancing around, sound like a Colorado hippie, but heck, I'm kind of bearing my soul to you right now. But there are these forces in the world, and we know this because they impact, working with the most vulnerable people in our community, a lot of us, those are the people that get hurt by this. It's not always, and I'm not saying, white people with privilege don't get traumatized. We do. But there's something about having to confront racism, like my sister's boys did, my nephews did, stuck in that rally yesterday. What my black friends feel when they're pulled over by the police. What's going on with immigration? Somebody who's worked so hard with children struggling with child abuse, knowing 545 kids are lost to their families. And we live in a country where those parents might be hiding, so their kids, they think they have a better life than going back to their communities where they could get killed, raped by the gang violence in their community. Unfortunately, we have a country who policy-wise separates them from their kids when they came here, probably like my ancestors did, just looking for hope in a better life. But the question is, we've got all this despair, but for those of us that bring hope into the world each and every day, that counter racisms, sometimes with our feet when we march, with our signs when we march, when we do go against the patriarchy, when we go against bigotry, when we go against heterosexualism and discrimination, facing so many of our friends, we bring that light of hope every day. And this big demon that I saw in this crazy little vision I had, we can either be paralyzed by it, and in many ways, that's going to be the natural reaction to this, is to shut down. Because we've been under this now for 5 years or more, right? And I'm not saying this all started, because just saying that, hey, when Trump came down that escalator after calling immigrants racist and murderers, that's when it started, did not start there. For a white guy with a lot of privilege, it seemed to escalate from there. But again, I will own my privilege when I talk about that. But there was this whole post, and it comes from some hippie it seemed like a pretty decent call as far as Carl is concerned, but I won't even mention the thing. It was a Netflix special I saw, and blog post, I put out one every week, so I had to find some topics. But I love this idea of building a wall of hope and light. To say, yeah, there's this divide, and when I need to march, when I need to have conflict, because I see racism, I see discrimination, I got to get my white ass privilege on the streets to at least show up. I need to shut up. I need to listen. I need to learn. Yes, whether it's women marching, whether it's my LGBTQ plus friends marching, Black Lives Matter, we need to show up. And so at times we march, but every day we bring our compassion. We bring hope into the dark places. And my friends, we are powerful. Think about all the nurses in our country. Think about all the social workers, the outreach workers, those working in social services, education. Think about those in the empathy and compassion professions. We are not some small minority of people. We are huge. We are huge. We're in every community. Those that don't care about who you are, we're going to give you the best of what we have to offer no matter what. So in this time of despair, because no matter what Tuesday looks like, I'm not worried about Tuesday per se. I'm really freaked out about Tuesday, but I'm more freaked out about what does Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm freaked out. Like, my birthday is on November 21st. What does the world look like on November 21st? And while a lot of that, as one person, I don't feel like I have a whole lot of power in this world. What that vision taught me was I can run from that demon, or I can stand up to that demon. I can bring light into the dark of our country right now. And so, yeah, vote, march, protest. All those things are important, but don't underestimate the power of your compassion and empathy for folks. Don't estimate, because that's the wall of light that we put up against that darkness, that we counteract the racism. We counteract the bigotry by our compassion, by our hope. And if you listen to this and you're not in the helping professions, you can still be a part of this. We are powerful in our numbers because the clinics are going to go open up on Wednesday. The health centers, the homeless services, the shelters, the food banks, we're opening up. We don't care what happens on Tuesday. We will be there on Wednesday, providing food, providing shelter, and maybe most of all in this time, providing people hope, giving them compassion. So if you are like me and feeling pretty damn worried and in some ways a little powerless right now, let's focus on that hope. Let's celebrate the fact that most people listening to this, we get to go to jobs each day and make a positive impact on the communities we serve. I really worry about people who don't have that, who have maybe share our compassion, our passion for those in need in our community, but then have to go to a bank and don't get to go to work the next day and say, okay, yeah, this is horrible. I've got this small piece. I'm going to make that piece. I'm going to make my brick in this wall of hope and light as best as I can build it, as strong as I can give it. And this is the power that we have. We have one vote. We have our feet to go out. We have our voice to march and to advocate. We've got all that. But we also get to come to work each day and put our brick in that wall, our brick of compassion, of empathy, of understanding, and of hope. So through this time, please, and I know we're burned out right now because we're also in the middle of a pandemic. We're burned out. We're traumatized right now. But to get through this, let's try to find that energy inside us that brought us to this work and really focus in the midst of all this darkness on that brick that we put in the wall. I want to thank you for all the great work you do. If I didn't have you, I'd be in a lot worse situation, at least emotionally and mentally right now, because I am connected to so many thousands of amazing folks out there doing work. So I'm quarantined again. So I can't get out there right now. Luckily, I live in Colorado where, we've mastered mail-in balloting. We were going to do it no matter what. So the vote is in. The fingers are crossed. And I'm going to get back to work right now, working on an online trauma-informed care training series that I'm really excited about. Got a great podcast coming out tomorrow. And so I'm going to go back to work because even though nationally, I can't impact that in the way I want to impact it, but damn it, I can get back to work trying to make a positive impact on my community. And for all those in the midst of doing this right now, thank you for all you do. Hope will conquer fear. Thank you. I love you all.